Blog Talk Radio.
The Enlightenment Evolution Network presents the Enlightenment Evolution Hour with your host, Rob Gauthier. Hey everybody, this is the Enlightenment Evolution Hour with your host, Rob Gauthier. This is a part of the Enlightenment Evolution Network, and that's something we're going to talk about this evening right up front. We are here every Wednesday at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, that's 6 o'clock Pacific Time. We're here basically to help the collective consciousness be raised. Now, this evening originally was supposed to be a Treb channeling event where you would call in, talk to Treb, get his answers for things on questions, but unfortunately, about midday, I started feeling a little bit ill. I think I'm coming down with the bug, and that's going to be something I want to talk about, too, how our own selves manifest in energies of illness and all other forms in life. But before we get to that, I want to get to my announcements. Now, this is a very huge announcement this week. As you know, last week I explained that we are going to be starting the Enlightenment Evolution Radio Network. And what this is this is an opportunity for all of the listeners of this show, as well as all people who love all things metaphysical, to be able to come to one place on Blog Talk and be able to listen to new content from a new host every evening. Now, basically, what this is involving is I've gathered many hosts for shows, and we are all going to do one show per evening all week. And I want to go through and kind of explain these things here about this network. Now, we're officially on the run to launching our internet radio network. I'm now introducing the Enlightenment Evolution Network to everyone. This is a network of all things metaphysical. We've got the greatest team ever assembled for the Enlightenment Evolution Network. Most of you are aware of this show, obviously. That's why you're tuning in, which is on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. Now we're going to have a show for every different day of the week with different hosts. Monday evening at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, that's 6:30 Pacific Time, we are going to have Daniel Scranton hosting Heart to Heart Talk Radio with Daniel Scranton. Now, on Mondays, you can join Daniel with his featured guests as they discuss topics such as the ships, extraterrestrial, global events, channeling, energy work, toning and sound healing, manifestation, and all things metaphysical. Each show will open on the phone lines with the callers generating high-frequency discussions on anything and everything related to living on planet Earth and beyond. Now, for those of you who don't know who Daniel Scranton is, he is the channeler. He is also a Reiki or Reiki master, however you pronounce it. I have heard it pronounced many ways. He's also a sound healer. He lives out in Ojai, California, with his beautiful wife, Lena. And Daniel has been working with a group of beings known as the Creator since fall of 2010. He also channels Ophelia, which is a fairy entity, and also just recently began to channel the Hathors. Now, you can message him and get his email for subscribers. You could go to Facebook with him, YouTube. He pursues all of his interest in this life and the Earth-type environment that he has in hiking, raw food, science fiction. He's hugely passionate about channeling. And any of you guys who know him know he's been a friend of this show many times. He's come on as a guest. He's done his channeling. Actually, he's channeled all three of those entities or group collectives, the Hathors, Ophelia, as well as the Creators, on this show itself. So he's a real great guy. You can go out and check that out on Mondays at 9:30 Eastern. Now, Tuesday, we're going to have at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific, Carlos Ruiz. And Carlos is hosting the show called Galactic Families. This is based from a website that he's part of called Galactic Families. Now, as much as I can tell you guys about the show, the name says it all. It's helping make the connections with our galactic families and other galaxies, other solar systems. It's about first contact, about any contact, and connecting heart to heart with our galactic families. He's also a part of a Facebook group called the Yael Civilization. It's one that we've talked about. He's also co-guest host on this show with George back when I was doing my Helene Lipson in the North Dakota vacation that I took November of last year. He's a great guy, tons of information, very exciting. He works with a team of great people who all they do is concentrate on connecting. He's going to have some special guests that'll blow you away. So that's Tuesday at 9. Now, Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, me, myself, and I, as you know, Rob Gauthier, I'm here, the creator of the Enlightenment Evolution Network. I'm going to be here. I'm going to host the show that started the network, the Enlightenment Evolution Hour. And this is a trip every Wednesday we're going to take together. The first Wednesday of the month, I'll be channeling Treb. Starting next month, we will be back on track, obviously, with our brother George, who is no longer here with us at this time. He, doing that kind of made things a little bit hectic just for this month. But we're getting back on track next month. The third Wednesday, we'll have special guests. Like next week, we have Brad Johnson as our special guest. He will be channeling Adronis, I believe. He might channel other entities, but Adronis is who he usually channels. He'll be our special guest next week. The other 2 weeks, we're basically going to do freestyle call-ins like the show will be today. We'll talk about certain topics. We'll have clips from Treb. We'll take callers. Whatever we want to do for that day, we'll do. And any information that you guys want to share, we co-create that evening together. Now, Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Philip Malika will be hosting the Philip Malika's Consciousness Evolution Hour. We welcome to Philip's Consciousness Evolution Hour. On that show, he discusses in depth a wide range of metaphysical topics, from perspectives of fifth dimensional, topics including the shift, fifth dimensional living, relationships, channeling, channelers, non-physical and off-world energies, New World paradigm, and will attempt to guide listeners into their own abilities to find value of fulfillment. Hosts, speakers, guests, and channelers who will assist us in exploring these topics. He will assure you that this will be a most forward-looking and unique experience in the exploration of our new fifth dimensional world. Philip Malika is a great guy. I've known him for a while. He's a teacher and a speaker who presides over and facilitates the Consciousness Evolution 2.0 group on Facebook, as well as being an admin for the Bashar Inspiration group on Facebook. He also runs 2 metaphysical groups in Michigan. He's a fellow Michigander. And in those groups, they can be in 3 weeks out of the month, and he writes daily on the Facebook groups helping people find those. So that is what's going to be on Thursday. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday will be being announced soon. We do have one person who will be coming on within the next 2 months, a very great lady, and we'll get to that a little bit later. When that time is to be announced, that'll happen. That'll be happening in the next 2 months. And we also have a few other people we're just waiting to get back with us to fill up the rest of those 2 days. Now, this network is super exciting. We have all sorts of ways that you guys can contact us. There is the Enlightenment Evolution Network Facebook like page. There's also the Enlightenment Evolution Network group where you can join, just like the old group that we had, the Friends of the Rob and George Show. If you guys go on there, that's still an open group that's very active and exciting, but so will this Enlightenment Evolution Network. So join that group. There's also the Enlightenment Evolution Hour page, which is a like page on Facebook, which is my own personal thing. And we will be also having a brand new, exciting website built. We're having it built as we're in the process. That will be launched next week. This website is beautiful. It has everything you could ever need. It will give you all links to all shows, upcoming shows, archive shows, anything you want to find out. It'll tell you about each person, each presenter, everything that they do. And it's a really exciting time. The vision that we've had doing this show, back from the very first show we did with George all the way until now, there's always been this huge wanting to expand consciousness. We want to have people be able to connect to their hearts out to the world, and this is what we're doing on a mass scale. We're going to fill up every night of the week with people to be able to talk. And this is a very exciting thing. It's a very exciting prospect and aspect of our reality right now, being able to expand out and talk to everyone about these things. Now, I have a couple more announcements before we get started with the show also. There is a live Q&A with the creators with Daniel Scranton on March 20th. You can go to danielscranton.com, all one word, all small letters, www.danielscranton.com. He'll also be channeling at the Alchemy Art Centers in Santa Barbara this Friday, the 14th. Keep your eye on his website because eventually there'll be more information about that. If you go to the Santa Barbara and you go to the Alchemy Art Center, you show up with $20 at the door, you'll be let in. There might not be a link to do that. I'm pretty sure there's not, but if you go there with $20, you'll get in the door. You'll be able to go to that event. Great event. Daniel's a great guy. We all know him and his channelings from this show. He's a great friend of the show. So if you're out in that area, please, please, please go out and support him as he's very great. On our site for the Enlightenment Evolution Network, we will also be doing all events, all announcements that you hear on a weekly basis will be there. Another announcement that I've got, we will be receiving more information, so keep your eyes on trebchanneling.com. That's my own website with the Treb channeling material. We just have had this information about an event that's coming in July. Now, I'm going to find the specifics for this event. Right now, there is no link set up for this. There's no registration, but there is a lot of information. Portal to Ascension, with Neil Gar, Sink Chink, and Universal Love, all Facebook people. They are the members, the founders of Portal to Ascension. They'll be soon releasing information on an upcoming online conference that's going to be held in July sometime. It'll be 3 days, 23 hours, over 20 speakers from all around the world. The topic is disclosure of everything. All the truths from sacred geometry, our true history, ET awareness, conspiracies, unconditional love, consciousness, free energy, teleportation, secret Mars mission, self-employment, ET channeling, oneness, vibration and frequency, sound healing, quantum physics, resource-based economy, zeitgeist, and ascension. Literally everything. And there are 20 presenters, but among the ones that you guys will know the best will be Daryl Anka, who channels Bashar. There'll be Brad Johnson, who channels Adronis. There'll be myself channeling Treb. And there'll also be people like Dr. Dream. There'll also be Alfred Lambrot, Webry III. All sorts of people on here. 20. Watch out for my own website, Treb Channeling, also portaltoascension.com. That's our announcements for this week, unless I am forgetting something, and I do not believe I am. All right, that's it. Now, today's show, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about something. Today was a day where I was supposed to go, and I was supposed to connect to Treb today. I'm feeling very, very rough. I think I'm getting a bug now. So there's a good idea brought up to me. Maybe we should talk about that. Maybe we should talk about what it is in our life, our physical ailments, our energy being thrown off, all of these things that are very distracting for us, the energies that we are creating reality with, everything that we are doing in our own lives that can cause friction and resistance. And this is a very important subject. Now, my own self, as I've told you guys before, this part of my life has been very expansive. All of you guys have heard the Helene Lipson private session that she did with me as I broke it down. All of those things that we talked about there, you guys are very aware of. Going through divorce, those things can be very difficult, very hard on everyone. Even though it's understood that two people can have their own path, that once loved each other but don't love each other in that same way. They can go their separate paths, and it can be peaceful, but for most of our belief systems, it can't. There's so much things that mean so much to everyone, and they get caught up in that energy. And going to court, dealing with custody, all these things can be so, so rough. Now, when you're looking at this causes friction. It causes fear, fear of the unknown, fear of what your new future will present to you. There's all sorts of these energies that come in with a situation such as that. And when you get focused in or locked in, or when you get into arguing, or when you get back and forth energetically with someone, it's very difficult to keep yourself separated from that energy. And when you do that, that often can manifest in several different ways. Illnesses is one of them. A lack of energy. All sorts of people have talked about ascension symptoms. They say that the energy that we receive from galactic center, from the cosmos, whatever these energies are, Treb would tell you that it's a 10th density entity, which is a galactic center that provides these essential energies. But no matter how you look at it, it's created energy from the universe that comes into you. Now, why would that make us ill? Why would that make us sick? Well, in my perception, I don't think it does. I think what this energy does is it motivates us to remove negative energy. And in removing that negative energy, there's emotions that come up. And emotions are the actual basis of all energy, whether it's mental energy, emotional energy, or physical energy that we deal with in our physical bodies, these meat suits that we're wearing. That is affected by these energies. And when these energies come in, they're positive. They're helping start to expand our DNA. They're helping us start to expand our consciousness. And the way Treb describes it quite literally is we're shifting from third to fourth density. And when we do that, it's like someone taking a gallon of water and pouring it into a small glass. Well, pretty soon when the small glass gets filled, you got to grab another glass. And what we're doing is we're changing glass sizes. We're already full. Even though most of us aren't drinking the whole glass, we are full in our third density self. Now it's time to get a bigger glass. And each day, each experience, each revelation adds more water to the glass. And that water represents consciousness. And the way it works, all of you who've been around for the density dimension teachings, the density master classes that we taught, Ardif, Treb, all weighing in on densities and dimensions, you guys understand that the evolution of the soul is a level of consciousness. That's all it is. It's a level of growth, a level of evolution, a level of enlightenment, and gaining enlightenment. Most people think once you go into fourth density, you're completely enlightened, you're completely good. That's not true. Treb will tell you that even the sixth density entities that live, such as Ardif, are not truly enlightened. They're not truly one with the universe. They understand their oneness, and they're a lot closer than we are, but there's always a disconnection of sorts. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in a physical representation in this earth. So all of these entities are showing us and giving us more of ourselves, and we're pouring more water into our bigger glass now. And when we do, a lot of that gunk on the bottom of that cup's got to come up. And when we do, we got to clean it out. And that's what this is about. That's what we are going through now. That is the energy that we are dealing with. It is cleaning out our glass so we can fill it up with more consciousness. And this is what I love. So many people are so willing to talk about their negative experiences. I've got so many friends who are going through so many difficult things. A lot of relationship issues are happening as we speak right now. People who are in these, what they believe is such loving, great relationships, and the next moment, the person who they're with no longer resonates with them, so they're without that partner. Or people who are in a horrible relationship, consistently bumping heads, decide instead of fighting, we can both have happiness and divide our ways. We can both find happiness because it's not fair to coexist when we're not happy. We got people who are meeting new people, meeting people who are their true, wonderful, loving soulmates. They're a representation of everything that they've ever wanted, a twin version of themselves, a twin flame, a complete soulmate. All of these things are happening. Even friends are just fighting or loving each other harder than they've ever done. And both of those are a good sign. Both of those are representations of releasing negative energy. Now, I do have a couple clips tonight. This is a session that was done with a person who had been through Vietnam experience, and through those Vietnam experiences, there was a lot of energy within himself that was kind of blocked, and we'll get to those here in a little bit. But these energies, these things that are coming in are very exciting for us now. We're having the opportunity to kind of go through and release all the things that no longer serve us. I think that it's very exciting to be in this time right now. This Vietnam veteran had a very rough time in his experience, shot down a few times, shot at a few times, lots of different things that had happened, had personal close friends die, seen a lot of rough stuff. You guys can imagine it. If you know anything about the Vietnam War, you guys can understand that it was very, very, very rough. Now, this first clip is going to be about him and Treb talking. And what happens in this clip, they're going to be talking about how manifestations become blocked, how manifestations can no longer serve the own people's purposes once they try to manifest things. So we're going to go ahead and play that clip real quick.
I have experienced a lot of obstacles in efforts, like one example being a book I wrote some time back, about 10 years ago, and I was hoping or expecting the universe would open up and things would happen to allow this book to be a great deal of help to a lot of people who could have benefited from it. And yet I experienced a lot of even conscious obstacles in my efforts to get it out there. And I'm still not clear on why I have over 1,000 books left. And I need to know, should I keep pursuing? I guess I need to know the universe has my back in terms of trying to publish and communicate through the media, through books and whatever other sources of media, themes that will help raise consciousness.
Yes! When you look at this concept, it is within your highest excitement to share this, and it is always understood by your own self, as well as many of the materials that you have read and listened to, that when you are aligned in your highest excitement, you are more able to manifest. But there is also the collective consciousness that comes into play. And as you are, let us say, perhaps fighting against the collective consciousness, in your level of consciousness, trying to raise the awareness of others, this can be difficult. But there are also many beliefs that you carry, many of the residual energies that you carry of the frustrations of living in this environment that has helped not be able to create this energy. If you are able to come through your own non-physical self, be able to remove the blockage that you have within the chakra, the first area, and be able to place this idea into your number one excitement, to live in that excitement in all moments of the day, you will be able to see the manifestations coming more quickly.
Well, that's a very beautiful clip, very straight to the point. Manifestations are coming from our beliefs, they're coming from our thoughts, they're coming from our actions. And when we look into all of those things, when we put ourselves into our excitement and our beliefs are good and our thoughts are good and our actions are towards our excitements, we're able to manifest things that can be and is that simple if we allow it to be. The problem is not knowing we have bad beliefs, not understanding we have bad beliefs. Now, this person went through a lot of bad things, so of course it makes sense. The first chakra would be blocked. That's the chakra that allows us to feel safe in our environment, that gives us safety in general, that allows us to be a part of our environment without frustration or resistance. And in that trauma that came with that experiences that caused that feeling of not safety. Now, when we feel that we're not safe, what happens? Then our beliefs start to sway. Our beliefs say, hey, I can't do this because I'm not safe where I'm at, or hey, I'm not financially safe, or hey, I just don't feel like I belong here. All those things are accompanied normally with that first chakra blockage. That causes everything that we do, even if it's in our excitement to an extent, that causes blockages. That causes ourselves to say, hey, we cannot do this because we don't feel like we're a part of this. We don't feel that we're a part of the system that's willing to support us. We don't trust the universe. And that's what it amounts to. Those of us who cannot find a full embracement of trust for the universe will not find the universe providing it to us in the way that we want. I know it's a semantical game when it comes down to the points of what we call this universal consciousness that gives us a law of attraction, law of resonance, the God, creator. All these names are perfect and all of them fit. So it's really semantical if we break it beyond that point, but it's all the same. We trust the universe. That means we're trusting in ourselves. And this is where I have been able to manifest in ways that many others couldn't, because I have that just understanding that things will be okay. But other ways I couldn't manifest when others could is because of my beliefs that something was wrong or something had to be a specific way. It shows us how much our beliefs get in the way of manifesting. We're going to take a caller here in a minute and see what you got to say for the day. 1 second here. Caller from the 443 area code, we're going to take your call first. You've been on wait the longest. Who do we have with us this evening?
Rivital.
Oh, Rivital, how are you doing, sweetie?
Oh, okay. Listen, I have a ready-made question for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. I don't know. You might regret.
Oh.
Listen, I've been waiting for this question, and I was waiting all day for this show, for this question. But listen, everything you're saying is absolutely amazing, and it's just on time. Really resonate with everything I'm going through. Really, one by one. So my question is, what happened to this plane from Malaysia to whatever? What happened to this plane?
That's something everyone's been asking me to ask Treb. I talked to him about it about the second or third day, and he basically said it's not within the knowledge of the collective. And without it being in the knowledge of the collective, I can't access it without the people who knows permissions. Treb's really weird that way. I probably should have asked Ardit, but the problem is when I connect to Treb, I do it in an astral state. I don't channel him. And when I connect to Ardip, I have to be channeling, and I haven't had the chance to channel with Ardip since then because of the schedule, how it's been lately. So I have not had the chance to access him. I don't know if Ardip's beliefs are in the same way that they could restrict certain flows of information, but Treb's belief system limits him in a way because it doesn't allow him to enter another entity's energy without their permission. So that is still a big question mark in our arena. That's something I have not been able to find out yet.
That's interesting. So
absolutely.
So if I understand you right, okay, and I have here the burden of the phone, that you're saying that it's not in his collective consciousness? That's why he cannot figure it out?
It's not in the Earth's collective consciousness. The world doesn't know what happened.
It's not in the Earth's collective consciousness?
Right. There are only less than 100 people who know what happened to that. That's not a part of our collective. Now, if you ask Treb what happened in World War II, well, a lot of people know about that. There's a lot of energy in the knowledge of understanding that. So that's a larger part of the collective that understands that. That's why when you ask them about food, if you ask them about something that everyone knows at least something about or has a perception about, he can easily access that. Because I don't know personally where that plane went down, because only the small group of people who were on that plane truly know what happened to it. It's not a big enough part of the collective consciousness for him to access it. When he's connecting to the Earth's collective, he connects to all of us at once. And because it's such a small percentage of people, we're talking about less than a 1 trillionth of the percentage of the Earth population knows that. And that small of an energy, there's not a lot of understanding in it. And we, with it comes down to it, like when you ask Treb about Earth's history, he can give you information about that because the people who lived through that history know. Even if it's lost to us now, he can still access that because it's part of the Earth Collective. This is a very, very small portion of energy and a huge ball of energy. It's difficult for him to access that information.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. I don't know.
It's very interesting because it's like it's defy everything that I was understanding so far.
Well, you got to remember too. I know your personal story, how you connect. When you're connecting to information, you're connecting to collective consciousnesses. Treb is an individual entity, so his connecting ability is less than that. He can't. He doesn't have a whole collective to his one perception. He's just one perception, one entity, in one race, in one star, in one galaxy, in one part. So he's a fractal of the collective. When you tap into even the Earth Collective, you're tapping into almost 300,000 oversouls, which have trillions of fractals. More than trillions, probably quadrillions of fractals in it. And when you have those types of access to the information, then finding information is much easier. It wouldn't seem like it because there's more to it, but they have that ability to grab and pick any fractal that they want out of the trillions or quadrillions of them. And that's the difference. You're dealing with a fifth dimensional or a fifth density entity compared to a seventh or eighth. And even though there's only 2 or 3 numbers there that divide that, the amount of consciousness that divides that is huge. That's just like the consciousness of a rock compared to us. It's bigger of a gulf between fifth and seventh and eighth than it is from first to third, or first to third to fourth. So it's a very, very huge difference in consciousness level. That's why they're able to perceive a wider view.
So actually what you're telling me is that it's very easy to hide information from us because of that.
Absolutely, because we have such a lower version of and that's where tapping into the higher aspects of ourselves comes into play. That's where, like what you do, you access information from 6, 7, 8 chakras when you're into your personal things. So when you do that, you're able to reach out to a much greater extent than a lot of people normal perception.
Right. But the thing is that I sometimes, I don't know how to say that, but sometimes I think that I'm working with some kind of search engine, you understand, like Google. So I'm like search engine stuff, So when I'm looking for information, I'm like search engine them, and then I'm looking for the source of them. So, so what you're telling me that Treb doesn't have that search engine for that kind of information.
Well, he could gain access to that, but the people who went through that experience have to share that. They have to be willing to give him that information. He's very polite. It's like going to your neighbor and saying, "Can I please have a glass or a cup of sugar?" or walking in their house and taking it. And that's kind of how Treb looks at access.
And you want to tell me that the people who disappeared are not willing to disclose themselves or where they are or what they were going through?
I don't know. At that time, I'm not sure. You got to remember, too, when Treb tries to connect to people who die, it's a different experience. People who are just dying, it's very, very, very potent, very powerful. Energies that are as big as Treb's are very scary for many humans who don't understand who he is and what he is because it's such a large energy. He's such high vibrational level that they can't perceive him even on the death plane. Because that death plane is somewhere in between third and fourth and fifth density. Fifth density is not perceivable. All they know is there's this huge energy that's around them, and they don't understand it. So what happens to most humans when they don't understand something? They get scared. I've had 100 people ask Treb to connect to someone who died in their family, and out of those 100, only 3 or 4 people ever got a true connection. Some people got little parts and pieces, but that's how difficult it is for people who have passed to communicate with these higher density entities because the level of energy is so different. So I could very easily see a group of people who die together. I guarantee half of them don't know that they died already.
Yeah, that's surprising to think that they died.
Sure. Well, sure. And if they did die, then it's really understandable. If they didn't die, then it's even more understandable. If they're still alive somewhere, that means that they can't even perceive Treb, most of them, unless they have a very wide openness and a very open crown chakra.
And they can, and Treb cannot communicate with other consciousness or other beings that are, other beings, in the universe or from different densities. Like you channeling with Treb, he cannot channel with another entity,
Sure.
like this,
Yeah, he channels. That's his relationship with Ardip. It's basically the same as mine is with him. He doesn't channel Ardip, but it's similar to that. And that level of consciousness, I suppose if it was in Treb's highest excitement, he probably could reach out and figure out an answer to that. But the way he's looking at it is Earth collective consciousness doesn't know it, and it's for a reason. They don't know it for a reason. There's a blockage of information there for a reason, and I'm not going to interfere with that dynamic. That's how Treb is. That's why Treb won't land and say, hey, how's it going, everybody? He is a very non-true being, and he believes very deeply in the sacredness of a person's sovereignty and their own energetic build. So he's very, very careful in the way that he accesses others' information and energy. That's why when people have a session with him one-on-one and say, go ahead, Treb, jump right in, he could tell them everything about him. But when it's, hey, what's going on with my neighbor? What's going on with my boyfriend or girlfriend? He's like, nope, can't do it. He's very, very respectful of that boundary.
Well, that's obvious to me. I completely understand that ethics, because it's an ethical thing, and I hold that ethic as well. I call it like gossip. You cannot look, you don't peep into your neighbor's shower, without their consent, okay,
sure.
Or without their invitation. Yeah, we're familiar with that. Now, the thing that I'm concerned about is the impact of that kind of disappearing on the global. On the global society, like the twin towers. That was some kind of a scheme that actually, shaped the world and brought more of those low energies into the planet. And what I'm thinking now, I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, now we have this kind of plane somewhere in nowhere land, okay, disappearing with 200 people, not this, huge, beyond measure, compared to what happened with the twins. But that I had this kind of concern that this is going to draw us backwards and start creating, a whole field of gossip and all kind of negative and low vibration. It's like I have this kind of concern that this is going to draw us back in a way. And YouTube is going to be filled up with all kind of rumors of what happened and, all kind of, conspiracy stuff,
Sure.
And I think to myself, I really want to know the truth about it, and I don't want to be drifted into fantasy lands,
Well, absolutely, and that is a huge concern. When it comes down to it, the way we approach all these things that cause fear is to not ignore it. We accept it. We accept it for what it is. We can create our own perceptions without basing it in a fearful base, like the Twin Towers, perfect example. There are a million different perspectives on that. A lot of them are based in fear about people dominating and doing that. But if we refuse to be a part of a system where what other people intend to do to us, and we don't accept that, and we just accept ourselves, we know that we're the ones who have the power, that all of this stuff is just like a play. It's being played in the background with different characters. Our physical reality is just that. It's a learning ground. It's where souls come to learn lessons. And if we can see it from that greater perspective, if we can see it from the perspective of, hey, these people's deaths, as tragic as it feels, it doesn't really matter in the scheme of things because they're coming here to have that experience because they need it just as much as I'm coming here to have the experience of perceiving that and running it through my own heart process and my own discernment tools that I have within me. That's good. And the way I perceive natural disasters, things like this, I say, well, it's here, it's there for a reason, and I don't attach any dwelling. The more we dwell, the more of those videos that people watch and put their mindful energy in and start getting mad. Well, these people did this, and these people are going to hold us down. All of that thought process is very dangerous for ourselves. It takes away the power that we have as creators of our own reality. And when we feed it any energy, then it becomes more. So my only suggestion and the way to try to perceive those things is say, hey, that happened for a reason. The people who were on the plane needed it. The people who were not on the plane needed it. It is a part of our reality, and send love to all the people, not just the people on the plane, but let's say your belief system allows you to say someone shot that plane down to try to hide a secret, then send love to the people who shot it down. Know that they are just much a part of God consciousness as we are, and they're playing their part in this reality. We need these reflections for ourselves to be able to discern things. But I want to tell you, Rivitel, I appreciate the call so much. We've got a lot of callers to get to before the night's over, but I love you very much, and thank you so much for calling in tonight.
Thank you.
All right, have a good one. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, now, next caller we have, I believe this would be Roy. Is this Roy? Hey, Roy, it's a little rough hearing you, bud.
Yeah, nice to talk to you again.
All right, did you have anything you wanted to chat about today?
Yeah, I have some things I just wanted to share about, how to cope with all the things that's going on right now, all the shifts and, what you talked about in...
Sorry about that, Roy. I accidentally muted your microphone. I apologize. Is there a way you might be able to get closer to whatever microphone you are? Because none of us can barely hear you, bud.
Sure.
There we go. Now we can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead and start from the beginning again, bud.
Yeah, I was just wanting to share about, how to cope, everything that's going on now, all the changes and, all the transformations we are going through and, experiencing all this contrast. And what I find is very helpful, it's to ground yourself a bit, go into nature, stay in nature a little bit, stay with your knowing and be in your knowing a lot, because everything comes together when you're in the knowing, because nothing is missing then. It's like when I'm in the perfect state, not the perfect state, but when I'm enter that kind of silence within, everything's perfect. And, I don't look at my beliefs that much. I don't need to work on everything. And everything, kind of gets grounded and aligned. I think that's also important when we're doing all this work with beliefs and changing our realities, following our excitements, Also, when you're following your excitement, you're also in that zone, you're zoning in and everything becomes beautiful and everything you look at is just amazing, you connect with people, they share a lot of love, all these kinds of things. Yeah, that was pretty much
absolutely. And that's something, too, I really wanted to get to tonight. After talking to everybody and kind of playing clips, I wanted to possibly say to everyone that it might be a really good idea for all of us to be able to go through an exercise in grounding. There's a technique that I teach to people. I've been extending my work. I've been going through on the Treb channeling website that I am at. I teach people how to channel, and the very first process of learning how to channel is grounding yourself. And there's a beautiful technique that I was thinking about sharing on air this evening to help people ground. And I think that's a very, very good thing right now with people having their anxieties, going through the issues that they are going through the energies that they are going through. I was going to teach that technique. What do you think about that, Roy?
That's exciting, and that's perfect. That's a great synchronicity for me. And for you too, great. Yeah, that was pretty much it. I don't have any more. I'm excited to hear what will unravel in the show. So I will just lean back and enjoy myself.
Well, thank you, Roy. I appreciate it, bud. You're always a great caller, great listener, and we always appreciate having you on the show, bro. I love you, and I think that after this next call, I'm going to take one more caller, and then we'll get to this grounding technique. I think it's very essential to learn this process. It's something that's vital when you're interested in channeling, because that's what channeling is. The channeling is allowing yourself to be a conduit for energies that are already there inside of you. A lot of people, that's one of the things I talk to people when they say, I want to learn to channel. Well, I always ask them, how do you perceive channeling? What do you think channeling is? If I was a guy on the street that you didn't know, you explain what channeling is to me. And the majority of people say, well, it's looking outside of yourself for entities to connect to. And that is true to an extent. But the way that I've always perceived channeling is looking into yourself and being able to dig deep inside of yourself to find a resonance. And once that resonance is found, you're able to find another aspect inside of yourself that will communicate with you, that's willing to come out. So I think that that's a very important discernment for us all to have when it comes to channeling. This neutralization technique, I'm definitely going to get to that. But let's get to this next caller first. 239 area code. Who do we have with us this evening? 239 area code. Who do we have with us this evening? All right. I can't hear very much. If you're there and you're just listening, please let me know. And if you're not, then I'll try to come back to you here in a little bit. But right now we're having a very hard time hearing you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go. Hey, who do we have with us this evening?
Oh, hi. It's Alex. Rob, how are you?
I'm doing great, Alex. How are you doing, bud?
I'm doing pretty good. I was just listening, but I do have a perspective on everything you've mentioned. It's really great to hear that you're extending the Evolution Hour into the network. I'm super stoked about that. I love the lineup of the guests. And actually, I've been wanting to hear more from Carlos Ruiz. I was on his YouTube page, and I found everything highly resonant with me. So I'm psyched about everything.
He's a great guy.
Oh, I know, yeah. And I like Daniel Scranton, too. I called in one time to talk to the creators, but I didn't get through. So I'm psyched about that. And, yeah, I also want to weigh in on the plane business, too. That jet airliner disappearing close to Vietnam. I'm sort of on the other end of the issue when it comes to this sort of thing happening. I think that it's just in this particular instance on the conspiracy side of things. I think it's fascinating that that it's all over the news, and they always try to say that. They point out to us how many Americans were there, and I think there was only one American on the plane, and it was a IBM CEO. So I'm willing to go out on a limb and say maybe it was corporate sabotage or something like that, because I've been watching, and it just seems like they interviewed everyone, and the only reason that it's on a lot of American news networks is because of American interest, and we haven't heard yet from the family of the CEO. So I've got sort of a hunch about that, but, that's all I can really say on the issue because I don't believe in spreading negative beliefs or negative propaganda.
Sure.
And that's what I think that's what it's all about, too. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to use that as a distraction tactic when they might try to put through, like, some political agenda or something like that. But that's all I'm going to say on that.
Well, sure,
yeah,
and that's basically what those things are, is they are meant to put fear into people or meant for them to think that there's something that's going on there that isn't. And that's how we fight that, is we ignore that part of it, see it for what it is, see it for what we believe it is, and don't place judgment on it. We accept it. We know it's a part of our experience. We know that the trick that they are trying to play didn't work. But we don't judge them for it. We say, hey, good try, maybe next time, and then we move forward. And the more we dwell on it in the negative aspects or the anger is the number one feeling I used to feel when people would come through with these conspiracies. I would say, how dare these people try to fool us and dominate us and try to rule us? But I got rid of that because they can't do it if I don't allow them to. So what hurt is happening there? What's going on there? Well, they're doing that to try to do that, and if I didn't accept it, then in my own reality, it doesn't affect me. And now that it doesn't affect me, I help other people connect to the same energy, and it won't fool them. And it's all part, there's got to be a bad guy in every movie, and that's the same thing we're dealing with here in our own creation. We believe that there has to be a negative thing, That's why we perceive it. And I'm sorry for cutting you off. Please, go ahead.
Oh, no. I was just going to say that that's pretty much the entire perspective I have on that. I would say that you're entirely right too. It's something that they can use as a good thing or as a bad thing. I would just always caution people, whether there's a big event like that happening or not, to stay politically engaged in what excites you. I'm excited about libertarianism, that is, individual responsibility and freedom. And any time that any event affects that, I'm especially aware of it. And I just want everyone to keep up their awareness and stay alert, because I think that, recently I've become highly aware of cycles. And I think personally, this is based on my most recent feelings, is that we're going through a heavy acceleration, and I haven't heard many people talking about that, but it just seems like what I put out is like immediately being fed right back to me. And I think the extent to which we're removed from a situation is the extent to which we can or we are affected by the cycle. I'm not very connected to the jet airliner, but so I have, that's not going to affect my personal cycles. But I just wanted to bring up the issue of cycles, and also maybe if there's another caller who's experiencing this, I would be interested in that perspective. I guess I heard you say that I'm the last caller before you go into the grounding technique, which I really am excited to hear. But I just wanted to announce to everyone and see if there was any input about cycles, because that's something that's really prevalent and almost sort of controlling my reality right now. I find that I find most of my freedom when I work appropriately with the cycles that I'm experiencing.
Okay, well, that's beautiful, and I appreciate that input, Alex, as I appreciate the call. And I think you're right. There are so many beliefs and so many things and cycles that do dominate each one of our lives, and that's very interesting. Astrology ties into cycles, everything. Man-made time, that was something that Treb used to break through on first time, that how man-made time can negatively affect us, how things are energetically bound to cycles. So I think that's a very interesting point. And thanks again for calling in, Alex. I always appreciate your calls, bud. I appreciate your communication with us, and I love you, bud. Thank you for calling tonight.
All right, man. I love you too, and thanks again for everything you do. And I'm very excited about the new network. So good luck.
Oh, thank you very much, and I'm excited about that too. You have a good evening, Alex. The network thing is very exciting, and it'll just give us more of an opportunity to expand into different parts of consciousness and energy. Now, I do want to take some more callers. I do want to get to this grounding technique, but I have one more clip, and I think I should play that before we do the grounding exercise, because it has actually a lot to do with this. Now, this is PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder, and the same person who we just talked to, that Treb talked to in the first clip, is the same person here, going through all those Vietnam issues, going through all of the bad experience and trauma that he went through. It brought this energy that is labeled PTSD into his reality, and this is a little bit about that. And I'm going to play that clip, and then after that we'll go into the grounding thing after we talk about the clip.
Guess what you're sharing, it feeds into the other, I think probably the other question I wanted to ask. It relates to the idea of functioning beyond my post-traumatic stress disorder, and trying to understand what my greatest flaw might be that I'm working on in this life, and I would guess it's connected in somehow to the PTSD, but that would be the last question I have here in my little note.
Yes, the idea of this PTSD, I believe is the name of this. This is very detrimental to the overall energy of you. As you are aware, fear is a type of blockage within the natural flowing energy that you have from the Oversoul. The Oversoul wishes to have alignment in any way that the fractal chooses, but the majority of fractals are very easily able to function within a free-flowing excited and loving environment. It is this way because all oversouls are connected to source energy, and the source energy is truly love. So when you are in fear, this is a disconnection from love. When you are in fear, this is a blockage of love to be able to reach you. So the concept of this is to look within your own self in this idea, in your belief systems about the PTSD concept, and to be able to see that your belief of the past trauma that you have incorporated into what you are now is truly a collective conscious belief system. There is a way to break away from this if you choose to, if you are able to place the work upon this idea. It is the living more inside of the now. But this again can be what you perhaps call a catch-22 because of the reason of this loop, of this circuit that is coming from the first chakra back into the third. This is also causing a distortion in being able to live in the now. Although you are very centered in your thought process, very centered in your emotional complex, there is still the looking back into the previous times. There is much of your mindset and energy that looks back into the past to tell you who you are in this now. And this is very difficult for all human experience entities to experience, especially that who is never limited by this time. As a fifth entity, you are never limited by linear time, so you are able to go back and forward without placing a value of yourself in that specific time. But within this experience, you are caught in this energy. The greatest way to release this is to see that you are in the now, that nothing that has happened in your past has made you who you are now, that all of those experiences are great learning points and learning periods on a timeline, but to not emotionally attach to these can be of great benefit. And it is well understood, the human perception of looking back into these perhaps tragedies or back into these dramas that have existed in your life and to place emotions upon them. This is very normal. But within the higher version of yourself, within the fractal that is of a fifth entity nature, it is very difficult to place yourself into this arena, if you will. This specific circuit that is coming back into this third chakra is not helping you be able to redistribute yourself only in the now without the emotional attachments. So being able to make a meditative state with the intent to disconnect the emotions from these previous versions of yourself, the previous traumas that you have experienced, and be able to say, I am who I am in this moment. I am connected to Source. I am made from love, and I will only experience what it is now. Nothing from this previous time can make me who I am in the now. I am literally able to change my existence in the flash of a moment. And if you are able to find a way to integrate this back into your true belief, as you truly do understand the nature of this in the now moment as a fifth entity, then you will be able to realign with a lack of fear and with helping rebuild the circuit.
Oh, that's beautiful. Now, I try to understand it, being in the moment, things happen here in this level of reality. A recent example is a car accident that was sudden, very sudden, and which I didn't see coming, even though in my recollection I cleared, where I needed to turn, and there were no threats or obstacles. It turned out that something was coming that either I didn't see or came faster. I don't understand, but it was very sudden, and that kind of repetition of these sudden things that keep happening seem to be part of what keep me kind of curled up energetically and kind of with my walls up, so to speak, in this reality. I'd like to be able to I don't know if I made the mistake or the mistake was made outside myself by somebody else or if we contributed. I'm just really confused, but those kind of things happening increase the sense of threat level about this reality for me.
Yeah, this concept is what you would explain to be a co-creation. This was not a functional or physical fault of yours. It is not a functional or physical fault of the other entity. It is literally a non-physical co-creation. There is many beliefs that you carry when you are not able to focus in the now, when you are feeling as if you are living in the now. These belief systems that you carry are literally based into the previous times. They are literally linked to previous experiences. In your experience of years that you have accumulated as a physical human being, you have seen many things upon the driving arenas and upon the roads in which give you the fear that anything is able to happen at any time. It is also giving you the concepts that others are reckless and careless. And this is what we express of living in the now can alleviate many of these ideas. If you are able to sit upon the road, if you are able to approach a mindset that expresses I am in control of my entire universe and that all entities around me are reflections of oneself, and that I understand that there is nothing that can physically come to me unless I accept this to come to me.
Well, I mean, all I could say about this clip is wow. And before I can even start breaking this down, I guess some of you aren't going to understand how powerful this is until you understand a little bit about the backstory of this person. I'm not going to get into detail when it comes to specifics, but basically what Treb told this person is that this entity was a fifth dimensional entity, that this entity came to live here on Earth to have the human experience. Now, there is a definition of starseeds that many of the public hold that says we all have come here to assist Earth at this time. So many people go into that belief system, and that's fine because they're feeling resonant parts of their oversoul that is attached in a linear time how we perceive the future. So they're literally connecting to portions of their oversoul that are way out there in the Earth's probable future that resonate with them now. And that's why they feel that they've come from another place to have this experience. Well, most of the people who feel that, they are very earthly. They've lived many earthly lives. And it's nice to see how Treb explains that to people in a very delicate manner, not to break their belief system, but to show them that they are just as earthly as all humans on this earth, but they are also very cosmic. They're out there in the cosmos in different areas just as perceived parts of the future. So it really doesn't matter how we break it down, but one group of us come from Earth incarnation cycles, the other come from different incarnation cycles, and this person came from another incarnation cycle and incarnated into Earth. And that's why he keeps referring to the fifth dimensional self, that you are a fifth dimensional entity. Because he came from the same place, or fifth density entity, as Treb did, the same level of experience that Treb is having. Now, also, they talk about the loop, the first to third chakra loop. This is very important, too. This person has set up through the PTSD that this person had, there was a looping chakra blockage. And what happens is the first chakra is blocked pretty severely because of the fear and the environmental non-feelings of safety. And basically what happens as the energy redistributes, it comes from the heart and goes simultaneously up and down. So it goes through this third chakra into the second, into the first, and instead of releasing into the earth where all the negative energy does, which is a whole other story. We can get into that later. Basically, when your negative energy goes into the earth, that's produced as weather or negative disasters, such. So the earth co-creates that with you. But regardless, this energy isn't dumping into the earth. This energy goes back into the third chakra. And that causes two different things, feelings of less safety, but also inability to stay into the now. Now, with that being explained, this is huge. The concepts that they went through there are very deep and profound. And when you listen to it on the playback or on the archive, on Blog Talk Radio or putting it on YouTube later, listen to that clip again knowing that. And I should have explained that before, but there's so much that's covered here. Our beliefs, it shows us literally how a belief can cause a co-created car accident. And most people think of that as a physical thing. That's a physical co-creation, but nothing that we go through is a physical co-creation. It is a non-physical, emotional, belief-centered occurrence that is being played out into the physical reality around us. That's how reality works in general. It's a very intense concept to know that your emotions, your beliefs, and your actions cause everything to happen. When people don't understand what I do, they ask me, what do you do? And I tell them that I am channeler and teach metaphysics. And they say, what's metaphysics? That's the understanding that our souls inhabit our bodies so that they can experience, and through that our soul creates the reality around us in every way, shape, and form. It's deep, it's intense. And to think, I know that one of the open forums, George and Treb were talking about, Treb used the example, the fly that lands on your arm is co-creating that moment. And he used that example because the day before, not known by myself or Treb, but well, apparently Treb knew, he was getting bit real bad with flies while he was doing yard work. And it was so funny to hear that, but that made sense to him. It landed right in the heart center. All those things are very exciting to understand, that our emotions, our beliefs, our ideas, it all creates from the very biggest events in our life to the completely mundane. And it is beautiful, beautiful to understand how that works out. Now, the limitations that our beliefs show us in reality through lack of resonance with our environment, or excessive fear in our environment, or not living in the now, is being shown to us in real time here. And it's beautiful how that's being expressed. This shows you not living in the now and being fearful in those environment states can be rough. And that's why I want to teach this grounding technique. Now, this grounding technique is very simple, and if all of you would like to do this with me while you're sitting there at home or on the road, wherever you're at right now, if you're able to close your eyes, it would be really great. I'm going to give the short version of this because we don't have a lot of time tonight. But basically what I want you to do is close your eyes, relax your body, get into the most comfortable position that you can. If you have enough time, or if you're doing this later as the archive, pause it right now and tell each one of your body parts to fall asleep. Start with your feet, your toes, your feet, your ankles, your legs, your calves, your knees, your thighs, your hips, your butt, your crotch, your stomach, and go all the way up, each part, piece by piece, and relax every muscle and every part until you're completely relaxed. And I'm going to give you guys who are listening live an opportunity to do that. So go ahead and do that. Just start at your feet, go to the top, and here in a couple minutes when I get in that place myself, then I'll join you. And I know I can do this a lot quicker than most people can. So I'm just going to let you guys keep relaxing. Remember, too, your breathing is very essential in this technique. You're always breathing very deeply and slowly inside your nose. So breathing in your nose. Fill your lungs completely up and then exhale slowly. Focus on the breathing. Keep breathing and relaxing. Now what I need all of you to do is I want you to feel your first chakra. And it's very important that we start at the first chakra This is the base root of you. And this is where all negative energy is released from your chakra system. So I want you to keep breathing in your nose and out your mouth and feel the chakra. Now, for those of you who don't know where the chakra is, it's right at the bottom of the tailbone. It's right by your anus, right in the middle of your body, very, very close to the bottom of your torso. It's right at the bottom of your torso. And I want you to feel this part of your body. And as you're feeling, I want you to visualize this area in your body. And it's a bright, dark, burgundy red, very, very bright, dark red. Continue breathing in, visualizing this dark red. Now the objective here is to feel this chakra in full. Energetically, I want you to feel it. I want it to feel very strong. Some feel it in a vibration. Some feel it in heat. Some feel it in coldness. Some feel it as pin prickles. Some feel like it's just an electricity. All of those are fine. All of those are acceptable, but feel it and concentrate on it. Put your intent on connecting to that energy. Breathe in through the nose. Fill your lungs and out your mouth. Connect that. Now, as we feel this base chakra, something I didn't mention before is it's very important to have your feet flat on the ground the whole time that you're doing this. You want your feet to be flat on the ground as you're breathing and visualizing this. I always prefer people to take off their shoes, so the next time you practice this, your bare feet are touching the ground. You're visualizing this after your body is relaxed while you focus on your breathing and visualize the bright, deep, dark red chakra at the base of your spine by your anus and your crotch region. Breathing, visualizing, and placing an intent to connect deeply to that energy. Now we need to ground to the earth energy. We need to be at one with this earth energy. That's what grounding is. Grounding is the bottom parts of our chakras, everything below the heart, resonating, connecting to the earth from the root chakra. So I want you to visualize now the same color red energy begins to branch down into each leg individually at the same time, simultaneously, just like roots of a tree are. And the energy is branching down into your legs slowly. They're coming down your leg, down your thighs, all the way through your legs. And each time it branches out, there's more branches and more roots of this energy. It goes to your knee, down your calf muscles, and it goes to the bottom of your feet. Let it store in the bottom of your feet. Let it sit there until all the energy that you feel from this chakra is now in your feet. Let it sit in the bottom of your feet as you're breathing, as you're visualizing the energy, as you're visualizing the energy rooting down your legs, while you're feeling this energy redistribute to the bottom of your feet. Breathe. Now that all the energy is stored in the bottom of your feet, I want you to let it branch out into the earth the same way that it did the bottom of your legs, at least 12 feet into the ground below you. And each time it comes out, there's more branching energy. Each time there's more roots coming out from the main root that come out of the bottom of your feet into the ground. You're connecting now deeply into the earth's energy. If you want to go deeper than 12 foot, go 24 foot. Go as deep as you can until all the energy is extended, rooted into the ground. Now, as you're connecting this energy into the ground, it's not only releasing your own negative energy, it's not only releasing and giving it back to Mother Earth from where the energy originated, but it's also bringing new energy from the earth, the centered energy, the stable energy, the grounded energy is coming into you. Negative energy is being released, new earth energy being introduced into your body, and you are exchanging all of this negative, anxious, fearful, anxiety energy into the earth as the earth energy comes into you. A solid, a stable, a very homely and earthly energy comes into you. And sit with this energy exchange as you continue to breathe. Feel that energy swelling up inside of you very strongly. Feel the energy from the red base chakra, the root chakra, and let it root out. Feel the energy coming up. In the same way that the energy is released, the new energy comes. Now I want you to feel how much you've released. I want you to feel the energy that you've been able to release. I want you to know that you're releasing energy. Now, when you feel that you've done that enough, I want you to bring these roots back up into your body again. And once you have them, settle them in your feet and then bring them up back into the root chakra. Now, as you're doing that, I'm going to count backwards from 10. Each step we gain, you're coming closer back into a fully conscious and aware state, less in the relaxed state, less in the state that we were just in. And 10, 9, 8, 7, the energy's back in your feet, not into the ground. 6, it's coming up your legs, back into the root chakra. 5, it's passing your knees. 4, it's into your root chakra again. 3, your muscles are beginning to become awake again. 3, your arms and legs are able to be able to move a little better. 2, you're fully awake. 1, you open your eyes. 0, we're back down to normal. We've released so much negative energy. We've grounded ourselves. I needed this exercise today. I think if I would have started this day with this exercise, I probably wouldn't have been ill. I probably wouldn't have went through the emotional things and all the negative things that I did today, which would have caused me to feel physically better. Just know, everyone, that this is the way that this thing works. We have all of this energy that's negative and we let it sit. We need to learn to release it. This is the most important lesson we can all learn, living in the now, releasing all the old stuff that doesn't belong to us anymore, bringing new energy in and grounding ourselves. Now I see we've had 2 more callers, and I'm going to get to both of you. Let's go to 360 area code first. I believe that this is Risha.
Hi, Rob. Yeah, it is me.
Hey, how are you doing?
That was really powerful. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And I had the added nurturance of nature by, when you started, I went out and stood right beside the Pacific Ocean, and there's absolutely a gorgeous sunset going down. I'll put a picture of it on Facebook later so you can see. But it was so powerful, the combination of all of those things, and feeling the new energy come in and releasing the old. I've done a lot of releasing of the old energy. It's very easy to do it here. So that was very powerful.
Well, I'm glad that it felt resonant to you. And I know that the specific area where you're at, it's very close to a main chakra of the earth, so it does allow that energy to flow very nicely, very deeply. There's a lot of real light and happy energy out there in the California area on the western coast.
Wonderful. Well, I'm north of California by a ways, but closer actually to Canada. But yeah, there's no mistaking that it's very easy to get in touch with nature here. In fact, one day we had a big storm, and I have never I channel all the time, I guess, sort of incorporating it. But it was a huge storm. It was late at night, and I was laying in bed, and all of a sudden, I could feel the energy of a water sprite come into me, and the water sprite was just pure excitement and love. It was just pure excitement, It was it was awesome. And what it imparted to me is that I can sit here and watch these long rolling waves, and sometimes with the sun in just the right place, I can actually see the water molecules aerate and disappear into air. And the idea that came across was that little moment of going from physical to non-physical was awesome. They love that. That water loved that. It was, like a dimensional shift almost.
Oh, absolutely. That's amazing.
Isn't that great? I loved it. But, I want to tell you, now that I'm coming back a little bit more, your show tonight has been so awesome because, like everything you talked about, I have PTSD, too, from Vietnam. And so that clip, just awesome, really awesome clip. And I like that. I can hardly remember what else you talked about now. Oh, I know. The idea about the way I look at big media events is it's the media that, if I wanted to get into negativity, I could see. I'm always impressed with how much energy, human energy, the mass media or the media can gather up. They can whip up a lot of energy. That's really weird. So I loved your explanation. It's so good to say, okay, yeah, that happened. And it happened for a reason, and it's great. It's fine. And send all aspects love. And immediately I detach from the mass consciousness on that one and add my own love instead, like you're doing. Add a whole vibration to it. It feels so right to do that.
Yeah, so it's the only way I've been able to deal with it in the last 3 or 4 years. Before I started publicly channeling, when I still was connected with Treb, I had a difficult time letting go of it. And the more I could let go of it, the better the connection with Treb got, the more I could let go of judgments of any form, the better connection with Treb I got. It's funny, I listen to things that are like 2 years old, and I laugh so hard. I'm like, man, my connection to him was not nearly like it. Every day it grows because I'm letting go of more judgments and I'm letting go of more restrictions. So his energy comes through much, much clearer and much more profound.
Yes, I get it.
It's a beautiful thing. And I appreciate it too, Risha, the call. You always call. You always have great energy. Always have a lot to share too. Is there anything else you wanted to share before I go to the next call?
Yes, I just wanted to say I actually had something else to talk about. I'll talk about it next week. No, I'm going to do it right now. But what I want to say first is I'm really happy about the network coming up. That's really great.
Yeah.
Whole lineup going. I can't wait because this is how I like to spend my time. in this energy, and I know if I do, millions of people do. And the other thing I want to say is I have a very dear friend that is going through a real, as I look at it, a betrayal thing now. And this person is suffering, and I know that the suffering, my guess is coming from this lifetime, and it's coming from all other lifetimes too. It's time to look at it, love it, and let it go. And I was just thinking the best way to help this person, and what I came up with was I can imagine the scenario, and whenever I get distracted by thoughts of that or any other thoughts, I go into my heart where there's no story anymore. There's no judgment. There's no story. There's what I think Alex was talking about. The same. You go into this place, or one of the previous callers. You go into this place, and there's no story. And by my doing that, that has to be helping my friend, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely it does. Just the understanding that this person's going through pain and trying not to judge the pain, trying not to judge the situation, and sending that person love, all of that is deeply and more profoundly helping than you could ever imagine. That's the balance that we have to have. When I heard you talk, you said that there was a betrayal. And when I see that word betrayal, that brings so many things to mind. There are many types of betrayals that we perceive. But in a way to try to heal, to look into that, I think the best perspective we can offer is that the betrayal is not really a betrayal. It's something that happens to us so that we can learn a lesson, so that they can learn a lesson. And whether it's money, whether it's property, whether it's relationships, no matter how the betrayal is perceived, if we can see any part of ourselves bettering from it, if we can see any lesson that we learned, and if we can see the other person, a betterment of them or a moving of them towards their excitement, that's the most healing way to look. But it's so hard I remember just 3 years ago, there is a person who sold something from me, and this person had been a friend of mine for 20 years. I let him live in my house. He brought this girlfriend with him. He didn't have nowhere to go. His family turned their back on him. Everyone turned their back. I loved him. He was like a brother to me. And his girlfriend and him stole something from our house. They stole a lot of things. And I was so mad. How could this person have done this to me? How could this person have did something when I have given of myself so dearly? But then I realized a lot of things from that. I realized that that person wasn't really a friend. It was the idea of the past that we shared together that still attached to me because we didn't resonate on any other level but our past we shared. I also realized that this person was going towards their excitement, that this person was getting into drugs again. And if that was the lesson he needed in his life, that will better him in the long run. The police issues he had to deal with straightened him up, scared him, made sure he was going towards his excitement. And for me, I realized I can't hold on to things just because I share a history with it. I must resonate in the energies that I feel now and let go of all these other things. So it was the most beautiful co-creation once I got past the hurt feelings. And that's the part we should all try to focus on when we feel betrayed. And I don't know if that certain story has any similar aspects of this, but all betrayals are just that. It's a feeling of I have given and you have taken. And we have to try to get past that by knowing that when we give more than what we should of ourselves, betrayals will always happen because we can't keep giving of ourselves. The best way that we can do in our own life is by living in our excitements and not letting others take away from that. And once we master that, then we find happiness at every corner. And I know it can sound a little harsh, a little rough, and I'm not trying to offend you or your friend, but I'm just trying to say, when we can get past the hurt part of it, then we see the bigger picture. I want to thank you, Risha, for calling. You always have great calls, great energy. We love you very much here. And thanks again for calling. And the network thing, my highest excitement. Even though I'm not feeling well, I came on tonight just so I can talk about that and then get into some healing with everybody. So I love you, Risha, and thanks for the call.
Thank you, Rob. Love you.
Love you too. We'll talk to you soon. All right, last caller we've got from the 720 area code. Who do we have with us this evening?
It's Alex from Colorado.
Hey, Alex from Colorado. How we doing, bud?
Good. Second time on the show, and I am loving it even more.
Oh, that's great. I remember last week you had a high resonance level with the conversation that we were sharing here, and I'm glad that you did.
Yeah.
What kind of things piqued your interest this week, brother?
I was listening at the very beginning, and I wanted to talk a little bit about, you touched on it, but that twin flame stuff that you were talking about.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Wanted to share me finding my twin flame a couple months ago. And technically, I guess, we found each other about 7 years ago. We went to high school together, and we were best friends in high school. And then we both moved, and so to different states. So we were states away, and we never really talked. But I knew something was there. You kind of don't really feel it at the time. But last summer, I had really gotten in touch with myself. I spent, like a lot of these other callers were saying, I spent a lot of time out in nature and really grounding myself, and I started seeing what was truly best for me. And I just, out of nowhere, I realized I need to contact her. I need to find her again. And so I did, and we started talking, and it was as if we had never separated in the first place. And it was the weirdest thing, because we hadn't spoken in a while, and I was worried things would have been different, but it was almost as if we were meant to find each other. And we started talking and getting closer and closer, and we started seeing all these signs. A lot of them were number based too, which I'm sure you're familiar with as well. Like our life paths were 6 and 9, which was interesting because they're reciprocals. We were both master numbers, and it was funny because both of our favorite numbers are our lucky numbers. I guess hers was 1 and mine was 24. Our entire lives have been that way, and we were looking. That's Alpha and Omega, and so we just started seeing all these really cool connections, and it was getting really, and it was getting really powerful. And it was, we would start finishing each other's thoughts. Constantly when we talk, it always, one of us will say something and the other person will say, I was just about to say that. We're actually saying that just now. We're talking while listening to you on the show. And we started realizing and seeing all these past lives that we had with each other. And so we've been spending a lot of time trying to map out all of these lives we started seeing in each other of times previous. And the thing that was interesting was we had both, without provocation, had seen this first life of our soul when, at the very, very beginning of everything, just being created, and obviously it was separated in two, but we had just seen this pull we had made this vow to always, no matter what, us being separated, to always find each other again. And we would start channeling and finding these lives where we weren't necessarily, together the way we are now, but there was one that was father and daughter, 2 sisters, and 2 twin sisters, and we would just see these, we would be the closest things, and then there would be the separation. We started seeing that karma had put us towards this path of this being our last life. We finally got to spend it together till the end. And it's just I can't even explain the feeling that I get from even talking about it, but it's just such a powerful feeling. I mean, we awakened each other in a sense. We got so spiritual, and we resonated with each other and started vibrating higher and higher. And it's just been honestly, it's as if my life was gearing me towards this the entire time, and I didn't know it. Or my soul was gearing me towards it the entire time, and I didn't know it, which is usually how it goes, I imagine.
Well, sure. And that's the beautiful thing. Right now, I'm pretty sure we don't have a dry eye in the listener demographic here, because that story resonates so strongly. It's beautiful to find those types of relationships. in our lives, twin flames or very deep and resonant soulmates. I've got a dear friend of mine. He's been a friend of mine since he was 4 years old, and it's amazing that we don't have to talk every day, and sometimes we don't talk for months. But every time we reconnect, every time we visit in person, it's like we've never missed one day of being friends with each other. And that's the same thing. That's a soulmate, just on a different level. I finally have got to experience a lot of things. I've had many soulmates in my life on many different levels, but I finally have met a person who I feel is almost exactly like I am. They are a person who is so completely like me. It's so funny that just everything that's talked about, perceptions, things that we did as kids, even though our paths were so different and so varied as children, we still went through the exact same things, just on different levels. And it's amazing when you're able to do that. Now, when you found this twin flame in your life, when you connected very strongly, you got to experience this. Now, you said something about channeling. Is that something that you guys do together? Is that something you get done from an exterior person, like go to a channeler to talk to him about it? How does that work?
No, we do it together. Sometimes we do it when we don't realize we're doing it, but a lot of times it'll either be whether it's on the phone or separate, but it'll, I'll get something where she'll start talking about something that I'm feeling, and I wasn't talking to her about it, and then we just start channeling, or we'll be on the phone, and all of a sudden we'll just get this feeling in our chest, this uplifting feeling, and suddenly it seems as though we're standing right next to each other, and it's as though we for a long time we don't even talk, and we feel and we understand completely what the other person's thinking, and I will never and have never experienced that with anyone else, and it's so powerful that it's unexplainable, but it's between the two of us, I would say.
Well, that's so what you're saying then is you channel in a way that a lot of people, I'm probably a non-conventional channel in the way that I go into a deep meditative state, and I produce connection to other various portions of my soul and connect that. You're doing the same thing, but you're doing it on a conscious level. You're doing it in the moment. And it's not a connection that has to be drawn. It's just a connection that naturally comes through. That's a lot of people I know do that. The person who was co-hosting with me for a long time, George, he did that too. He did a version of channeling himself. He called it decoding, but in my eyes, it was very much channeling. What happens is you get in your excitements, and your excitement now is connecting with this person. And when you both are sharing love of that nature, that is your highest excitement. Every time anyone gets in their highest excitement, like you should have heard me a half hour before the show started. As weak as I might sound this week, right now I sounded way worse because I'm in my highest excitement. So the energy, the thoughts, the information, things that you didn't even know you knew come through, and that's channeling in its fullest and most purest form. And that's kind of how I'm perceiving that you guys channel.
Yeah, and it seems like we're learning more and more about it as we go. We've gotten into using crystals and working on astral projection as well, which have both been very productive and very successful. And we also have been, sometimes we visit each other's dreams as well, where I'll wake up and tell her a dream that I had, and she had the exact same dream.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's wild.
Well, it's exactly how it sounds. You guys are connected on a twin flame or deeply resonant soulmate at very least, and that's a beautiful thing. If you think you're a twin flame and it feels like you are, if it feels like she's the feminine version of you, or you're equally feminine and masculine within yourselves, and you're just deeply resonant and connected, it probably is, and that's something Treb never tells anyone. He goes, well, it's not up to me to tell you if you're twin flames or not. What do you feel about it? Just go, one problem a lot of people have, they find out someone's a soulmate, so they base all their decisions on that, even if the soulmate is there to teach them a lesson in non-resonance. So when they do resonate with us, it makes it so much more exciting, so much more productive and happy. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we close tonight? I've went over by 8 minutes, and we've only, almost 10 minutes, and we've only got 20 minutes left of airtime. Is there anything else you want to chat about, too, before we call it a night?
No. Congratulations on the network. Want to say shout out to Roy. Hello. I enjoyed his call-in as well. And also shout out to Lisa, who is my twin flame. Hello. I'm pretty sure she's listening. But, congratulations on the network. And
thank you.
That's a very exciting news.
Absolutely. And again, I thank you, Alex from Colorado, right? We'll just
yes, sir.
And I do appreciate your call in. I'm glad that you're back for the second week. Next week, we're going to be having Brad Johnson, great channeler, great friend of mine. He'll be on all next week, and he'll be taking calls in too. So if you want to make it 3 weeks in a row for lucky number 3, go ahead and give her a ring. And I appreciate your call, bud. Thanks again.
Okay,
I love
no
you,
problem.
Bud. Thanks.
Love you too. Love you, Lisa.
Bye. All right, guys. So that's all the calls we're taking for tonight. Actually, I've got a 903 area code. So let's see if they have something real quick they want to talk about. 903 area code. Who do we have with us this evening?
Hey, Rob. It's Taylor.
Hey, Taylor. How we going, bud?
I'm doing good.
Good. To hear from you.
It's good to hear from you, too. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. What are we going to talk about?
I was wanting to know about more. I heard you last week talking about an event this summer with Daryl Anka and Brad Johnson.
Absolutely.
Wondering when was that going to happen?
Well, it's coming this summer. It will be in July. We do not have a specific date yet. They're still getting the format done because it's going to be online. There's a lot more things that have to be done before it's completely set, such as registration links, all of those things. Portal to Ascension is the one who is presenting it and hosting it. I'll just be a presenter. So they'll be having me come on there as well as Daryl Anka and Brad Johnson. As well as more. There's 17 other presenters besides us 3. It's packed full. What I would suggest, if you're still very interested in looking for that specific event, keep your eye on my website, Treb Channeling. As soon as I get the info, it's going up on the site, trebchanneling.com. Also, portaltoascension.com. Also, Portal to Ascension on Facebook, as well as my Facebook, Rob Gauthier, or facebook.com/Treb either one of those, you look on those and you'll be able to find it. What I was told by Neil Gar, who is the guy who's heading this event, along with St. Chink and Universal Love from Facebook, what I was told by them is that I should have very, very detailed information about that event within a week, and that was told to me just a couple days ago. So I imagine by next week's show, I should have a date. If not, it'll be soon after. That event is coming. It's coming very quickly, very strongly. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful event. It's a 3-day online event, 23 hours of over 20 speakers from around the world, and they're going to cover everything: disclosure, truth, sacred geometry, history, the true history of our Earth, ET awareness, conspiracies, unconditional love, consciousness, free energy, teleportation, secret Mars program, self-empowerment, ET channeling, everything. And the list is just huge. I can't even go through the whole thing with the time restraints that we have for this evening, but it's huge. Also, if you want to listen to Taylor to the beginning of the show, I did make an announcement on that, talking a little bit about the details, but as far as dates and times, we don't have that set up yet, and I'm still waiting to hear from that by the people who are heading it. I'm going to be doing an event this year in the summer, probably because this is in July, it'll be in June or August, and this is going to be called the Channel Panel. I've already got Daniel Scranton signed up. I've also got Brad Johnson signed up. I've also got Sean Swanson signed up, and that's going to be a Treb Channeling Presents, the Channel Panel event, and that will be coming this summer. More details are coming up on that. I've been so busy lately, I got to crunch down and get some details for that one. But that will be coming this summer, too, which will be another great event. But, yeah, as soon as I know, brother, I will let you know. Just keep an eye on my website, and you'll be able to figure that one out within a week, I'd imagine.
Great. That sounds awesome.
All right, but is there anything you want to talk about real quick? We don't have very much time left here, but we can, if you want to squeeze in one more thing, we can.
Yeah, one other question I had was, I noticed that earlier in your channelings that you had a lot of Treb talks. I was just wondering how those come about.
Those basically... Oh, yeah, absolutely. Treb Talks was basically one of two things. It was either George saying, hey, we're going to have a session with Treb, and I want him to talk about this, or people would send in questions for the open forum, and the same question would keep getting asked. So instead of waiting for the next open forum, I would have Treb talk about that. I am going to be doing much more of those, and I'm also going to be introducing Ardif, which is an entity from the Dina Brace, and he will be sharing much higher technological style of information, not technological itself, but technically more sound and in-depth information. Treb focuses on the heart, Ardif focuses on wisdom and the heart, so it's a mix of love and wisdom, and that's what we're going to be nailing down. We're going to get that done very, very soon here. Keep your eye on Treb Channeling for that. YouTube, obviously, is the place where I put out all my stuff. So all those things will be coming soon. And you're right, though. The Treb Talks was one of the best things that we did back there. The Treb Talks about this or Treb Talks about that. And that's something I haven't done for a while. And to revisit that would be very nice. And thank you for reminding me of that, Taylor. I appreciate your calling, but unfortunately we don't have any time. I got to go through a couple announcements before I jump off. But thank you for calling in and listening again, brother. I love you very much.
Love you too, Rob. Thank you.
Hey, bud, you take it easy. Have a good one. All right, everybody, we're going to wrap her up tonight. Before we do, we're going to just go through the lineup real quick about our announcements. Remembering Daniel Scranton's got a live Q&A, Creators, on March 20th. Go to danielscranton.com to look how to sign up for that one. Also, at the Alchemy Art Center in Santa Barbara, you go there this Friday on the 14th. $20 in your hand. I'm not sure what time. You can always go to Daniel Scranton's Facebook. He's very accessible. He talks to everyone. You can shoot him a message on there, ask him what time that will be, and he'll let you know. Or you could go to the Alchemy Art Center website in Santa Barbara. I'm sure they might have something on there if they have a site. And also the event that we just talked about, the two events, the Channel Panel, as well as the Portal to Ascension event coming this summer. Those are all events that are coming up. Also, I want to talk one more time about this internet network that we're starting, the Blog Talk Internet Network. We are officially running the network right now, next Monday, on Daniel Scranton's show, Heart to Heart Talk Radio with Daniel Scranton. On St. Patrick's Day, I believe, next Monday would be I believe the 17th. Absolutely, the 17th, St. Patrick's Day. I will be appearing on his show as a special guest. I will be channeling Treb. I will be taking calls. That's the very first launch show of our network, besides tonight's and last week's, with the Enlightenment Evolution Hour. 9:30 p.m. Eastern, Daniel Scranton hosts Heart to Heart Talk Radio with Daniel Scranton. He talks about a lot of stuff. Featured guests, topics as shifts, ET, global events, channeling, energy work, toning, sound healing, manifestation, all things metaphysical. Tuesday night on our network lineup, we have Carlos Ruiz. He is one of the founders of the Galactic Families website. He is also one of the founders of the Yael Civilization group and Facebook that has so much information, so much great. And that's what they're focusing on, connecting with our galactic families, connecting from our hearts, connecting from our minds, connecting with hybrid children, all of these things. myhybridchildren.com is also their website. That's 9 o'clock p.m. every Tuesday with Carlos Ruiz. I don't think he'll be starting this Tuesday coming up, but he will be the Tuesday after, if I'm correct. Wednesday, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. You know where to come. You're listening right now. Myself, as the creator of the Enlightenment Evolution Network, will host this show. First of the month, we have Treb channeling. Third of the month, we have a special guest. And second and fourth and possibly fifth week of the month, we will always have open forum like we did tonight, playing clips, taking calls, just shooting whatever we want to do. I take it off the head. I think about this real quick before the show. I have some help getting clips on here, and we just go for it. That's every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Thursday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern, we've got Philip Malika with Philip Malika's Consciousness Evolution Hour. We welcome Philip into Philip's Malika's Consciousness Evolution Hour. This show is discussing in-depth range of metaphysical topics, perspectives of fifth dimension. Topics include shift, fifth dimensional living, relationships, channelers, channeling, non-physical and off-world energies, the new world paradigm, and will attempt to help guide you through any or to your own abilities for a fuller fulfillment of your own life's peace, love, and ease and relief through heart-based living. He's going to have special guests, co-hosts, he's going to have speakers and channelers, and all of them will help you through that. This is the fifth dimensional living. Now, he himself is a runner of the Consciousness Evolution 2.0 group in Facebook. He also runs the beautiful YouTube channel that breaks down the Seth material in depth. Also, he has 2 local metaphysical meetup groups in Michigan. I will be appearing there very soon as a part of that group, as a guest to that group, because he, again, is a fellow Michigander, just like I'm from Michigan. So, yeah, if you want to check out that, go to Consciousness Evolution 2.0 group on Facebook. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday will be announced soon. We already have a feminine energy. There's so many masculine energies coming into this. We have a feminine energy, a wonderful lady who will be coming into the lineup too very soon. I'm not going to pre-announce that. I will save the surprise for when it gets there. And we also have 2 or 3 people waiting to respond back. And we're going to see how this thing gets filled up. We are going to have Monday through Sunday every week. You will have an opportunity for anywhere from 1 to 2 hours a night to be able to listen to things of the nature that we've shared tonight, things that help you expand, things that help you tap into your consciousness, expanding evolution, enlightenment. And that's why it is the Enlightenment Evolution Network. We want to gain enlightenment through the evolution of our soul in any way, shape, or form. And there's so many ways to do it. You name your excitement. We'll have something for you. We are going to get into a lot deeper and greater things. And hopefully, if this becomes popular enough with people, we'll end up getting 2 or 3 shows a day. So the more that you guys support this group, the more you can. Now, part of the way that you can help support the Enlightenment Evolution Network, or if you want to help the Enlightenment Evolution Hour, you can always donate to trebchanneling.com. Go to trebchanneling.com. There's a donate key on the thing. You go to that, you click it. That's how you donate. You can also donate, if you have PayPal, by just going to trebchanneling@gmail.com and donate money to that. That will be for the running of this. All of the costs for this network at this moment landing on my own shoulders. I don't want to charge the people who are doing the shows with us, because I feel that if they have a chance to come on and not have to pay out of pocket for themselves, it gives them the opportunity to spread and share more things with everyone. So if you guys are very interested in this network, or in the Enlightenment Evolution Hour network, or the Enlightenment Evolution Hour, the show, please donate to those 2 places, trebchanneling.com or trebchanneling@gmail.com through PayPal. And there will also be donation links for each individual show. When you watch Carlos Ruiz, or when you watch Daniel Scranton, or when you watch Philip Malika, they all have donations for their own time and efforts that they put into this. So if you like a show, please donate to it if that's in your excitement. If you believe that sharing your money to these people, to myself, as a part of your own excitement to help co-create this experience where people can have expansion of knowledge, there's tons of ways to do that. The best way is watch out for each one of their Facebook pages, and I imagine that each one of them will have a Facebook page for their shows as well. There should be information on there how to donate, as well as signing into blogtalkradio.com, typing in their show name, and in the description of each archive show, they will have a link of how to donate. So you let us know how you guys would enjoy spending your time with us, and we'll be happy to oblige. I love you guys all so much. I am so excited about this network. This is in my highest excitement at this moment, getting out all this kind of beautiful, strong, wonderful, expansive knowledge as a part of the Enlightenment Evolution Network. This is the Enlightenment Evolution Hour with your host, Rob Gauthier, and I just want to tell you guys I love you guys very much, and I will see you next Wednesday, as I will here every Wednesday, snow, sun, rain, or shine, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 6 o'clock Pacific. I love you guys very much. We'll see you next week. Love you. Bye.